Hi, I'm Serena. Welcome to your practice. So, today we're going to be focusing on postures that connect the hands to the feet and the feet to the hands. So, that does require a lot of strength and balance. I wouldn't really recommend this practice if you're completely brand new or if it's been quite a while since you have practice. So, I do have another video up finding the balance, which would probably be a bit more suitable. So, you could try that one out first and then see how you go. So there is a few more challenging poses in this practice. So with that though, we'll be moving progressively. So we'll be going step by step. So we'll be moving from more simple to complex postures. And it's really important to be at the stage and the level that feels best for your body. So always just honoring what's going on for you and your body. Super important. Also, too, we need to have a certain amount of degree of steadiness in what we're doing. So even if the body feels really unsteady and we feel quite challenged in the posture, can you stay quite steady and focused in your mind? And same when we slow it down a little bit. Notice when the mind wants to just start to wander off, when we slow down through the body, again, keeping the mind more steady and more focused. So it's really about finding that steadiness before you start to add on and get fancy. Alright, so if you've got two blocks, fantastic. You can use those, not essential though for the practice. And it might be handy to have a strap or a belt. And if you don't have that, you can also just use a towel that can double as your strap. So if you've got a strap, you can just unroll it, take it off to one side. And then when you're ready, making your way over to your mat, and we'll begin in child's pose. So to come into child's pose, taking the big toes to touch, knees out a little bit wider than your hips, and then just allowing your sit bones to start to draw down towards the heels, reaching the arms forward, just lowering the forehead down onto the mat. And you can always place a block underneath the forehead if it doesn't quite connect. And just taking a few moments here just to get settled in. So depending on how your day has been up until this point, we don't automatically just drop into this place of yoga. So we just need to give ourselves a few moments just to get settled. So it might be nice just to take a nice slow deep breath in through your nose. And then big exhalation all the way out through the mouth. And then just take another slower, deeper breath in. And then slow, steady breath out. Just continuing here to keep that focus on your breath. If it's for you, you can breathe in and out through the nose with the lips gently sealed. But if that's not really going to work for you today, just finding a breath that you can maintain throughout the course of your practice. And I know that this pose is always here for you too. So if you do need to take a little bit of a pause, you can always come into child's pose, always a great option. And it's completely reasonable to rest at any time. So take that rest when you need it. So let's take 2 more cycles of breath here. As you finish your last breath here, lifting your head up, taking your gaze forward to the top of the mat, come forward onto your hands and onto your knees. And then once you come into this point, we'll do a few rounds of cat and cow. So as you inhale, dropping the belly, rolling the shoulders back, lifting up through your chin. So that's your cow pose. And then as you exhale, pressing through the palms, rounding through the upper part of the back, drawing your belly button towards your spine. And then just continuing here, so moving through those 2 motions, forwards and back. Maybe even closing down the eyes if that's available for you. And then just really feeling into the spine. Paying particular attention, particularly to your cat pose. So that rounding through the upper part of the back, the drawing in through the belly, and the lengthening through the tailbone. So just really paying attention to that one as you press down through the hands. It might come in handy for something a little bit later. So just completing 1 more round here. And then coming back, shoulders in line with your wrists, hips in line with the knees. From this position here, we're going to extend the left leg long behind you. So extend it all the way long behind you and then extend the left arm straight on up towards the sky. So this is like a modified version of your side plank. So keep pressing down through the right hand as you keep lifting through the left. Taking one more breath here. Now bringing your gaze down onto the mat, bring the left hand down, but as you do, start to pivot. So you start to lift up through the left leg, so it lines up with your hip. Once you're here, wrapping left hip down, pressing out through your left heel. Now this is feeling pretty good for you here. Now option to extend your right arm forward. So as you reach your right arm forward, keep pressing out through the left heel so you get a bit of a stretch through your spine. Now taking one more big full breath here. Now bending your back knee, reach around and then just grab hold of what you can. So maybe you can get hold of the ankle, so our first connection to the hand to the feet. And then just keeping the gaze low, maybe you can start to extend the left leg a little bit more towards the back of your mat. Now taking one more breath here. Now gently releasing, so extend both limbs all the way out long. So stretch out through the arm and the leg, and then place everything back down onto the mat. Once everything settles back onto the mat, now this time taking your right leg long behind you. So extending long through the right leg, start to open through the chest, extending your right arm up high. Keep pressing down through the left hand, find a little bit more lift through the left side of the body. And taking one more breath here. And then returning the hand back onto the mat. So as you do that now, just start to pivot around and then lift the right leg up in line with your hip. You may just need to steady yourself here. Just taking your gaze forward to the top of the mat. Now if this is feeling pretty good, now option to extend your left arm forward. So as you reach out through the left hand, keep pressing out through your right heel. Take one more breath here. Now bend the back knee, reach around, grab hold of what you can. Maybe it's the foot, maybe it's the ankle. So whatever you can make contact with. You can also use your strap there if that's available. Keeping the gaze low, just start to extend that leg towards the back of your mat. That's it. Now take one more breath here. Now releasing both limbs long. So extend everything back out onto the mat. And then bring your hand and your knee all the way back down. From this position, just take the hands a little bit more forward in front of the shoulders. So just set them slightly more forward. Tuck your toes under. Lift your knees up and then start to draw your hips all the way up and back, coming into downward facing dog. And then once you arrive in downward facing dog, if you do need that little bit of movement, please feel free to take it. So you can pedal out the feet, maybe shake the head out, maybe roll forward into a high plank and then back into down dog. So if you need that bit of movement, you can go for it. So whatever you need here, just to allow yourself just to find that steadiness and just to really start to settle into the practice. Normally the first few moments of the practice, the mind can just take a little while just to settle. And so just give yourself this time. Now taking one more breath here in your down dog. And then looking forward to the top of your mat, just slowly start to walk your feet up to your hands at the top of the mat. When you arrive, keeping the feet hip distance apart will fold long over the legs. So just allow the head to drop, back of the neck to go long. You can grab opposite elbows here and allow the chest to be really heavy here on top of the thighs. Release through the back of your neck, and if it feels okay for you, maybe a nice little slight sway from side to side here. Now releasing your arms down towards the mat. Over the next 2 to 3 breaths, just really taking your time. Just rolling up through your spine. The crown of the head will come up last. So just take your time, feeling each part of your vertebrae as you come all the way up. Once you come all the way up, grounding down through the feet, lifting up through the knees, slight drawing into the belly as you lengthen through your tailbone. Keeping your shoulders really nice and soft and the crown of the head extending towards the ceiling. Turning your palms forward towards the top of your mat. On an inhale, sweep the arms up long over your head. Placing the palms together and then place them down in front of your heart. Your eyes can be closed or gazing down softly here. And an invitation to set an intention or a dedication here for your practice. Or you can just use this as a moment of stillness. Now releasing your arms by your side, bringing a bit of light back into your eyes. So bring your feet together at the top of the mat, palms face forward. On an inhale, sweeping the arms up long overhead, and then as you exhale, slight drawing in through the belly as you fold towards your legs. On an inhale, halfway lift, pull the chest forward, placing the hands down and then stepping back into your plank. So coming straight back here into your plank. Knees can come down if you need to. Otherwise, shoulders line up with your wrists. You're drawing up through your belly. So there's almost like that rounding, like your cat pose through the upper part of your back here. Now taking one more big full breath here. Take another breath in. And then use the exhalation to slowly bring you all the way down to your mat. Hands outside the ribs as you inhale, start to pull the chest forward and then lift up cobra. Exhale, come all the way back down. Pressing into the hands, tuck the toes under, lift up through the knees, and on a big inhale, pressing all the way up into plank. And then drawing your hips all the way up and back into downward facing dog. And then we'll take 3 slow, steady breaths here. Last breath here. Now lifting your heels, bending your knees, looking forward, you can step, or if it's there, you can hop to the top of the mat. As you arrive, we pull the chest forward, halfway lift, and then we fold in towards the legs. On an inhale, we rise, sweeping the arms up to the sky, and then the palms come back together in front of the heart. And we continue. As we take the next breath in, we lengthen up. As we exhale, folding forward. Inhale, lengthen, halfway lift. Setting the hands down and stepping back into plank. So taking it all the way back into plank. Taking a breath in. And then use the exhalation to slowly lower you all the way down with control to your mat. Inhale, cobra. Inner elbows wrap in. Exhale as you lower your chin. As you inhale, pressing up plank. And then the exhalation, the hips draw all the way up and back, downward facing dog for 2 breaths here. So at the end of the next exhalation, lifting your heels, bending your knees, looking forward, step or hop to the top of the mat. When you arrive, we pull the chest forward. That's on an inhalation. And then exhaling, folding in towards the legs. On an inhale, we rise. Arms go high to the sky. And then the palms meet back in front of the heart. And then let's go for one more. So inhale, lengthening up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen. Planting the hands and stepping back. Take another breath in here in your plank and then use the exhalation to slowly lower you all the way down to the mat. Inhale, cobra. Exhale to lower. Inhale, press up, plank. And then exhale, downward facing dog. Deep breath in here. Slow, steady breath out. One more breath here. And then from downward facing dog, lifting your heels, bend your knees so they come to touch all the way down onto the mat. So bring the knees all the way down. When you arrive here, extend your right leg long behind you. Take your right arm high to the sky. So just like we did at the beginning of class. So find that stretch through the side of the body. Keep pressing away through your left hand. From this position here, seeing if you can use your stomach muscles, so drawing through the belly as you start to pull your right knee in towards your chest. So right foot's going to end up at the top of the mat. So how are we going to get there? You can grab hold of the knee, the ankle, or the foot, and then just seeing if you can maneuver yourself around so that your right foot will land at the top of the mat. So once you come all the way forward, keep the feet about hip-width distance. Have that bit of space between the legs. Hips move forwards and down as the arms move forward and then up. So reaching up through the fingertips as we keep sinking down through the hips. Take one more breath here. And then release the hands back down onto the mat. Tucking your back toes under, lift up through your right knee and then your left knee rather, and then step back into downward facing dog. And then just take a breath in. And a slow breath out. Let's take one more breath here. Now from downward facing dog, lifting the heels, bend the knees so they come to touch all the way down onto the mat. So once the knees touch down, this time extending your left leg long behind you and extending the arm up towards the ceiling. You can always turn out the right shin too. So if you do need a little bit more support, option to turn out through the bottom leg. Once we're here, we're pressing away with the right hand, keep lifting up through the left. And now using your stomach muscles, seeing if you can start to lift the left foot up and away from the mat, draw the knee in towards your chest. So once you're here, grab hold of what you can and then bringing the foot forward all the way to the top of the mat. You can also just step the foot forward. Might be a little bit easier, but probably not as much fun. All right. So having the feet hip width distance apart, hips move forward and down as the arms sweep forward and then up. And reaching out through the fingertips, find that length through the side of the body. Take one more breath here. And then placing the hands back down onto the mat. Right toes tuck under as you lift up through the back knee and then step back, downward facing dog. And let's take a deep, slow breath in here. And we'll stay for the exhalation out. And let's take one more breath here. From downward facing dog, lifting your heels, bending your knees, looking forward, you can step or hop all the way to the top of the mat. When you arrive, find that length, halfway lift, and then fold in towards the legs. On an inhale to rise, taking the arms up high, and then the palms come together down in front of your heart. Keeping your hands in the front of your heart, bringing your big toes to touch. Once the big toes are connected, bend your knees down in line with your hips. So get down really nice and low. So it's like you're coming into a tiny little chair here. So squeezing the legs together, keep sinking down through the sit bones. Keep the legs where they are and now extend the arms straight out in line with your shoulders. So keep sinking down, bring the weight into the heels. Now slowly start to lift up through the head, the chest, and then maybe the arms as well. So we don't want to lose the legs here, but we want to get a little bit more straighter through the spine. So even here, imagine that you're pushing yourself into a wall behind you. Now take one more big full breath here. And then as you exhale, straighten the legs and then fold in towards your legs. Inhale, lengthen, halfway lift. Setting the hands back and stepping back into your plank. From plank, lowering all the way down to your mat. Inhale, cobra. Exhale as you lower. Inhale, press up into plank. And then exhalation draws you back, downward facing dog. And then just take a nice, slow, deep breath in. Smooth, steady breath out. One more breath in. So from downward facing dog, step your right foot in halfway down the mat. So just step the right foot in halfway down. So once you're here now, you're going to start to pivot your feet over towards the right. So you're going to spin on both feet. So they're pointing over to the right side of your mat. Once you're here, press away with the left hand and then reach your right arm up high. So a little bit of a variation of what we did before. From this position, the right foot's going to land at the top of your mat. And you're thinking, oh my God, how are we going to get there? Same as before, seeing if you can lift the foot up, maybe draw the knee in towards your chest, and then slowly just start to bring the foot all the way around to the top of your mat. Remember, you can always modify if you need to. Making sure that you've got the feet hip-width distance apart. So remember, we want to find that stableness here through the legs. So check that they're hip-width distance, move the hips slightly forward and down, and now sweep the arms forward and then up. So once you come up here, if it feels too much having the back knee lifted, just bring your right knee or your left knee down onto the mat. So do what works best for you. Otherwise, we keep lunging down through the right knee, keep firming up through the back leg, and we keep reaching out through the fingertips. Now taking one more big full breath here. Now releasing the hands down onto the mat and then stepping all the way back, downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, come high onto your tippy toes. So lift the heels high, look forward, slowly ripple the chest forward into your plank pose. From plank, slowly lower yourself all the way down to the mat. Once you come down onto the mat, interlacing your hands behind you at the base of your spine. As you take your next breath in, lift up through your head, chest and shoulders. Maybe lift the arms up, and if it feels okay for the lower back, the legs can start to lift up as well. So we're really more extending through the crown of the head. So the head's not lifting up, we're just finding that extension here through the spine. So you can keep your breath really nice and steady. Let's take one more breath here. Now then, lowering everything back down onto the mat, releasing the hands, place them back outside your ribs. Tuck your toes under, inhale, press up, plank. And then exhale, take it all the way back, downward facing dog. And then just take a moment here to reset in your down dog. So down dog's always a really good posture where you can just take a moment here just to find that focus back on your mat, that connection with your breath, or maybe even your intention if you set one. One last breath here. From downward facing dog now, stepping your left foot in halfway up the mat. So left foot's going to come in halfway. Once you're here now, pivoting your toes, so both of your feet are going to turn over towards the left hand side. Once you're here, press down through the right hand, start to open, extend the left arm up high. So again, once you're here, make sure that you can feel stable. If you don't, bring the right knee down. Now we're going to end up with the left foot forward at the top of the mat. So start to draw your left knee in towards your chest. Maybe grab hold of the foot ankle, anything that you can grab hold of. And then maneuver the foot around to the top of the mat. So find your stability. Let's get really nice and stable here. Feet are hip-width distance apart. Hips move forward and down as the arms sweep forward and up. Right knee can come down onto the mat if you need to. Otherwise, we keep lunging through the front leg, firming up through the back leg. We keep reaching up through the fingertips. Check in with your breath. Check that it is steady. Check in with your gaze. Now take one more breath here. And then releasing the hands all the way back down onto the mat. And then let's step back, downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, coming high onto your tippy toes, roll forward. So come all the way forward into your plank. From plank, lower down slow to your mat. When you arrive, interlacing your hands at the base of your spine, and then on the next inhalation, we lift up the head, chest, shoulders, we lift up the arms, and then maybe the legs start to lift as well. So you're extending the crown of the head forward, so you're not crunching into the neck. The crown of your head is that extension of your spine. So the spine is staying really nice and long here. Check that you're still breathing. Very important here. So find that steadiness in the pose with your breath. Let's take one more round of breath here. And then releasing the legs, release the chest, release the head. Set the hands back in line with your ribs. Tuck your toes under, take an inhale, press up into plank, and then draw the hips all the way up and back, downward facing dog. And then once you come back into down dog, take this opportunity to reset here. So find that focus back on your breath, your attention back on your mat, maybe your intention. Now from downward facing dog, bringing your feet together so the big toes touch at the back of the mat. So bring the feet together so the big toes will meet at the back of your mat. And then taking an inhale, slowly roll forward into your plank. So keeping the feet squeezing together. From this position here, we're going to drop the heels over towards the left. So heels drop over towards the left, so right leg is on top. And then we start to open and we extend up through the right arm. So pushing the ground away with the left hand. So from this position, again, this is now the progressive, the next stage from where we're moving. If you can manage it, seeing if you can draw the right knee in towards your chest. And then once you're here, maybe you can grab hold of the foot or the ankle, start to turn yourself around to the front of your mat, bring the foot all the way forward. Again, you can just step the foot forward. Might be a little bit easier. All right, so take a moment here, steady out yourself. So right foot is forward. With the back foot though, we're going to spin it flat so it's lining up with the back of the mat. Bring the hands onto the hips and then slowly come all the way up. Now just squaring your chest over towards the left side. Keep lunging down into the front knee, but pull the inside of the left thigh back. Find that length through your spine. Bring your hands together to prayer in front of your heart. Taking a deep breath in. And as you exhale, take your arms out wide. And then just turning your gaze to look over your front hand. Allow the shoulders to be really nice and soft, but we're extending out through the front hand and also through the back hand as well. So you're getting more of a stretch across the front of your chest. And so find that steadiness here. Maybe it's with the eyes, maybe it's with the breath. Let's take one more breath here. Now, left hand's going to come onto your hip. As you take your next breath in, reach the right hand away from your hip. So we're looking for space here. So we're reaching, reaching, reaching. Now, when you've gone as far as you can, maybe the forearm can come down onto the top of the thigh. Maybe the hand can come outside the ankle, or maybe even the hand can come onto a block. So you've got some options here. So once you're here, lift up through the right side of your body so you're not collapsing onto the thigh. Start to rotate and turn the chest open towards the left. So turn and open. Maybe your left shoulder can start to open a little bit more, so any amount here. And then maybe the left arm can go straight on up as well. So if you've got the arm outside the leg, push the arm into the leg and the leg into the arm. So it's keeping you supported here. Now, if it's there for you, slowly start to reach that top arm past your ear. So extending it all the way forward. Taking one more breath here. Now, wherever you are, turning your gaze down onto the mat. Start to bring the left hand all the way down onto the mat, pivoting onto your left tippy toes. And then bring the right hand to the top of your thigh. Again, just take a moment here if you just need to settle and steady yourself out here. So find that stability. Now firm up through the back leg, pull your chest forward, look over your right shoulder, and then start to extend up through your right arm. So pushing the ground away with the left, keep reaching up through your right fingertips. Take one more breath here. Now bring the gaze back down onto the mat, bring the top hand down, and then step the left foot all the way in and fold. So there's some options here for your fold. So keeping the feet hip distance apart, you can interlace the peace fingers around the big toes or maybe just grab opposite elbows. But before you fold in towards the legs, take an inhale here to a halfway lift. So pull the chest forward. And then exhale, fold all the way in towards the legs. Allow the head to drop, back of the neck to go long. And if it's there for you, maybe you can just create a little bit more space through the backs of your legs by drawing the sit bones up towards the ceiling, if you can. Just see if you can steady out your breath here. So smooth it out. And at the end of the next exhalation, releasing the feet, and then slowly just start to roll all the way up to standing. So just taking your time, coming all the way up to the top. All right, so once we're here, you've got a couple of options. So I'll show you the first option that we'll do with the strap. So if you're using the strap, I'll show you that option. Otherwise, if it's there for you, you can just draw your right knee in towards your chest. So we'll start with the right side. So we want the feet to be hip width distance apart. And again, we want to feel like we've got that steadiness here. So if you are using the strap, you're going to place it around the arch of your right foot. And then keeping your feet hip width distance apart, bring your left hand onto your hip and then just have a slight little bend into your left knee. So that's going to help keeping you stable here. And then just slowly start to bring the right knee up in towards your chest. So once you're here, notice if you're leaning more into the left, can you bring yourself more back through center? And even too, just have a place where you can direct your gaze. So if the gaze is steady, it's going to help you to balance a lot more easily if you're more distracted and if you're looking around, if the eyes are moving everywhere, it's going to be a lot more harder to keep your focus. So once we're here, we're just testing this out. We're seeing how we feel. Again, keeping the breath nice and smooth and the gaze is steady. So if this is feeling okay for you here, now you've got the option, you can start to extend out through the right leg. So you're pressing out through the right heel and you're pulling the right shoulder back. Staying tall through the chest, check in with your breath. Check in with what your mind's doing. Can you stay steady here? Now let's take one more breath here. And then the next thing we can add on. So as you take the breath in, use the exhalation to start to now open through the right leg. So you're pressing out through the heel. And then maybe there's that option there, you can extend out through the left arm. Again, keeping the gaze steady. Maybe if it's there, you can turn your head over towards the left. Wherever you are, you're doing very, very well. So if it's all falling apart and coming into a big mess, that's perfectly fine too. So wherever you are, you're doing so well. Now slowly just start to bring the leg all the way back through center. So wherever you've ended up, let's bring it all the way back on in. All right, if you've got hold of the strap, hands come to either side of the strap and then just seeing if you can lift the leg up a little bit higher. Stay tall through the chest. Press out through the heel. Keep the shoulders relaxed. Gaze is steady. Mind is steady. Let's take one more breath here. And then if you're still with me, release. All right. So if you're using the strap, you can take it off to one side. I'll show you the option without the strap on the other side. But just coming forward to the top of the mat, if you need to give the legs a little bit of a shake out, please feel free to do it. So coming all the way back forward to the top of the mat, bringing the feet together. Bend your knees down in line with your hips. Take the arms forward and up. So back into chair pose. So keep pressing down through the heels. Reach out through your fingertips. Take one more breath here. And then use the exhalation to fold and straighten through the legs. Inhale, lengthen here, halfway lift. Setting the hands down and stepping back here into your plank. From plank, lowering all the way down to your mat. Once you arrive here, interlacing the hands at the base of the spine. The inhale, you'll lift up your head, chest and shoulders, lift up the arms, and then lift up the legs as well. And then slowly releasing everything back down. So legs, chin, chest, and then the palms. Pressing up into plank. So as you inhale, press all the way up, and then take the hips all the way up and back into downward facing dog. So just take a moment here in down dog. And then from downward facing dog, bringing the feet back together to meet at the back of the mat. So feet come together. Coming high onto the toes. So lift the heels up, roll forward into your plank. So we're going to drop the heels back again over to the left. So heels drop over to the left, lift up through the right arm. So we're still doing the right side here. Press away with the left hand. So this is where we're heading. So let's see how we go. So if you're in this position, start to draw the right knee in towards your chest. So we've done the setup. This is the final step here. Now once you're here, maybe you can grab the big toe with your peace fingers. Or maybe you can grab the outside of the foot, whatever you can grab. And then once you're here, there's that opportunity now to start to straighten through the right leg. So press out through the heel as you keep pressing away with your left hand. That's it. You're doing so well. So wherever you are, I'm really proud of you. Seeing if you can stay steady. Now from this position here, we're going to bring the right foot forward. to the top of the mat. So once you come all the way forward here, bring the left knee all the way down. Now, if you've got the blocks, you can use your blocks here. Otherwise, just bring the hands down onto the mat. So just take a moment here to steady yourself. We're going to slowly come onto the heel of the right foot and drawing the right toes back. And again, you can use your blocks here for support, but we're looking for a stretch through the back of the right leg. Option here too, you can just maybe shuffle back the left knee. And then just encouraging the right hip to go back, left hip to move forward. And maybe you can keep just creating that little bit more space here through the legs. And then once you've found that spot where it's like that sweet spot where you can enjoy a stretch, just seeing if you can allow the shoulders to soften down. Maybe even close down the eyes if that feels okay. And then just focus in on the breath. So just seeing if you can just steady out everything. So steady out the breath, steady out the mind, and seeing if you can just stay steady here in the posture. Let's take 2 more cycles of breath here. All right, so you can hang out here for a little bit longer if you like, or option here, and this comes back to when we were doing our cat pose, so that rounding, that will help you, if I can find the words to describe it. So just sliding, if you're using the blocks, it's probably going to be a little bit more helpful. So you can use the blocks, you can slide them down to just above the right ankle, and then you're flexing the toes back, and you might just need to shuffle in the left knee, so you've got a little bit less space there. So once you're here, you're going to flex the toes back and then round through the upper part of the back. So find that cat position, so that rounding. So the movement's more coming from the lower part of your belly. So drawing through your belly, and then let's just experiment. Let's see if we can lift the right heel up and away from the mat. So it's not about lifting the heel up really high. It's about using the stomach muscles to seeing if you can get the heel up. So any amount, any amount here. So just having that little bit of a play. So flexing the toes back, drawing in through the belly. So the more you round, the more you'll be able to get that little bit of that lift. And it might be feeling very heavy here. All right, wherever you are, just take 1 more breath. Let's bring it back. All right, and then setting the right knee underneath your hip. Just taking a moment here. Move the blocks off to the side if you're using them. And then taking the hands forward and tuck the toes under. Lift the knees all the way up and back, coming into downward facing dog. And then use this time, this opportunity just to reset here in your down dog. And let's take 1 more breath in. So from downward facing dog, bring the feet together to meet at the back of the mat. So feet are going to come together. And then lift the heels high, look forward, roll forward into your plank pose. So come forward into your plank. Once you're here, dropping the heels over towards the right side, extend up through the left arm. So pressing the ground away with the right hand, lift up through the right side of the body and then find a little bit more length. So maybe you can extend a bit more through those left fingertips. So once you're in this position, just see if you can draw your left knee in towards your chest. It might feel a little bit different on this side. And then once you're here, we're going to start to bring the left foot all the way forward to the top of the mat. So however you get there. Remember, you've got those variations that you can use as well too. So once you're here, just take a moment, steady yourself, and then spin the back foot flat so it lines up with your mat. So you can even have a look at the foot. Check that it's like parallel to the back of the mat. And then bring your hands onto your hips and then come all the way up. So once you're here now, square your chest a little bit more towards the right. Keep lunging through the front knee and pull the inside of the back thigh, so the inside of your right thigh to the back of your mat. Grow a little bit taller through your spine. Bring your hands together in prayer in front of your heart. Taking a deep breath in. As you exhale, take the arms out wide and then take the gaze over the front hand. So seeing if you can remain steady here. So steady in the breath, steady in the posture, steady in your mind. And taking one more breath here. Now bringing your right hand onto your hip, as you take the next breath in, we want to move the left hand away from the left hip. So we want to create as much space as we can through the left side of the body. So you're lengthening away. When you've gone as far as you can, the forearm can come down onto the top of the thigh, or maybe the hand can come outside the ankle. So, or even onto a block. So once you're here, don't lose the lunge through the front knee. So we want to keep lunging through the front leg. Now start to turn and open the chest. So you're turning and opening the chest as you lift up through the left side of your body. So you're not collapsing down like that. We want to be lifting up, turning and rotating through the chest. Turning your right shoulder up towards the ceiling, and then if it's there for you, extending the right arm up. And then just take your gaze to wherever it feels comfortable for you and where you can remain steady in the pose. Let's take one more breath here. Now start to reach your top arm past your ear, so extending it all the way forward. So find that stretch to the right side of the body. Now taking your gaze down to the front of the mat, start to bring the right hand all the way down, and as you do that, you start to turn onto the right tippy toes. Once you're here, placing the left hand to the top of your thigh. Pull your chest forward, firm up through the back leg. Look over your left shoulder, and then if it's there for you, maybe the left arm can extend up as well. So push the ground away with the right hand, reach up through the left. And take one more breath here. Now turn your gaze down to meet the mat. Bring the top hand down and then step the right foot in and fold. So once you come here to the top of the mat for your fold, options you can just fold straight over, maybe grab opposite elbows. Peace fingers can go around the big toes, or maybe this time you slide the palms of the hands underneath the soles of the feet. And then whichever option you're going for, take an inhale first, so find that halfway lift. And then exhale, fold in towards the legs. Allow the head to drop, the back of the neck to be long. And again, see if you can steady out your breath. So slow it down. Taking 2 more breaths here. Now releasing the feet, and then find that slow roll up through your spine. So just take your time to come all the way up. So no rush, just coming all the way up. All right, so once you're upright, option to use your strap. So on this side, we're not going to use the strap just so that you can see the difference. And remember too, you can always use the wall as well. So if you need that bit of steadiness for your balance poses, please use the wall. Use as much help as you need to. All right, so coming to the top of your mat, feet are hip width distance apart. So really important you've got that stableness between the feet before you start to add on and get fancy. So slight bend into your right knee, right hand onto your hip, and then drawing the left knee in towards your chest. So just draw it in towards your chest first. This is the first step. So notice if you're leaning over to the right, can you pull yourself more back to the center of your body? And again, you can have that slight little bend here into your right knee for that support. All right, so you might just stay here. So this might be your pose. So if this is your pose, just steady your eye gaze on a place. Hopefully not on something that's moving. That won't be too helpful. So seeing if you can steady your gaze. And then if it's there for you, maybe this time you can take the peace fingers around the big toe. And then from this position, maybe you can start to extend the leg out long in front of you. So pulling the left shoulder back as you press out through the heel. That's it. Doing really well wherever you are. Seeing if you can stay with it. Now, if you're in this position, option now. As you take a breath in, as you exhale, you can start to open through the left side. So as you press out through the heel, steady yourself here. And if this feels okay, maybe you can extend the right arm out and then take your gaze over your right hand. Now, wherever you've gone to. Slowly start to bring everything back through center. So bring it all the way back in. Hands come onto the hips or outside the strap. Lift that left leg up as high as you can. That's it. Seeing if you can stay with it. Take one more breath. And then release. All right, so come forward to the top of your mat. Just take a moment here. Palms turn forward. So take it in, experience it, and then just let it go. It's just balancing on one leg. So whether you could do it or whether you couldn't, it doesn't matter. The fact is that you tried, and that's the most important thing. Now bring the feet together at the top of the mat. Bending your knees down, sweep the arms forward and then up. So back to chair pose. Seeing if you can steady out your breath. Let's take one more breath here. And then exhale, straighten the legs, fold all the way forward. Inhale, lengthen, halfway lift. Setting the hands down and then stepping back into downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, coming high onto your toes, roll forward into your plank. Slowly lower all the way down to the mat. Once you arrive, interlacing the hands on the inhale, lift up your head, chest and shoulders, lift up your arms and then lift up the legs as well. Keep that focus in on your breath. So notice if you're starting to lose the breath, maybe you're pushing a little bit too hard and you just need to lower down the legs or release the hands, whatever you need here. But make sure that you're still got that conscious awareness of your breath. Last breath here. And now releasing the legs, release the chest. Bring the arms back beside your ribs. On an inhale, pressing up into plank. And then pull the hips all the way up and back. Downward facing dog. From downward facing dog. Bring the feet together to meet at the back of the mat. So feet come together. From this position, lift the heels high. So come onto the tippy toes. Slowly roll forward into your plank. Now dropping your heels over towards the right side. So side plank here. Lifting up through your left arm. Push the ground away with the right hand. All right, so this is the big grand finale on this side. So once you're here, maybe you can start to draw the left knee in towards your chest. And then maybe you can grab hold of the big toe with your peace fingers. Now once you're here, maybe you can start to stretch up through that left leg, pressing out through the heel. Keep pressing down through the right hand. Find that stability. Steady your breath. Now wherever you are, we're going to end up with the left foot forward at the top of the mat. Are you still with me? Are you okay? All right. So once you're here, with some relief, bring the back knee all the way down onto your mat. Grab hold of your blocks if they're there for you. Otherwise, you can just bring the hands down onto the mat. Coming onto the heel of your left foot. Draw those toes back. And then maybe you can just start to play around with shuffling the right knee back. So just finding that little bit of space. So we're looking for a nice sweet stretch through the back of the left leg. And then once you're here, encourage the left hip to go back, right hip to move forward, and then just seeing if you can allow the eyes to soften down the shoulders, and then just focus in on your breath. So seeing if you can really steady it out here. And let's take 2 more cycles of breath here. And then from this position, if it's there for you, so you can have a little bit of play around, you can do it without the blocks, but just shuffle the back knee in a little bit more, so bring it more in line with the hip, and then you can slide the blocks down so they're just above the left ankle. So once you're here, setting the hands onto the blocks, rounding through the upper part of your back, so thinking like your cat pose, so that rounding, drawing the toes back, using more of your abdominal muscles to help lift the leg up. Now take a deep breath in and then use the exhalation just to see if you can start to hover that heel up and away from the mat. So any amount here, just lifting up, rounding through the spine and then lifting the heel up. So any amount here, any amount. All right, and then, if you're still with me, set the knee back in line with your hip. take the blocks off to the side. So just move them off to one side. And bring the hands back out in front of your shoulders. Tuck your toes under and then lift your knees up. Draw your hips all the way up and back into downward facing dog. Oh, I didn't realize how challenging this class was going to be until I had to speak and practice it at the same time. So if you're still with me up until this point, well done. You're doing very, very well. I'm very proud of you. I haven't tapped out yet, but we're getting towards the finish line, so you're doing really well. All right, from downward facing dog, take a really nice, slow, deep breath in through your nose. And then big exhalation all the way out through the mouth. And then just take another slower, deeper breath in. And then big exhalation all the way out. So coming high onto your tippy toes, roll forward into your plank. And then slowly bring yourself all the way down to the mat. So slowly bring yourself all the way down. So once you come all the way down here, coming out onto your forearms. So bring the forearms out in front of you, Sphinx pose. And then just allow the belly to be soft for the moment, but just roll the shoulders down the back and then just keep your gaze nice and soft. So just keeping your left hand, your left arm in Sphinx, just take the right arm across your body. So you're going to take the right arm just onto a slight angle here. And then you're going to bend your left knee. And then maybe you can reach around and grab hold of the foot, the ankle. Or you can also use your strap. So you can use your strap to lasso around the ankle. And that's going to bring the foot a little bit closer to you. So once you're here, you're going to press down through the forearm, lift up through the chest. So press down through the forearm, lift up through the chest, and then maybe you can start to draw the shin towards the back of your mat. That's it. And then if this is feeling pretty okay for you, we're going to look for a little bit more of a stretch now to the front of the left thigh. You can maybe just start to bring the left heel down towards the left sit bone. So again, we're not trying to get the heel all the way down. If it comes down, great. If it doesn't, great. But you're just looking for that sweet little stretch. So remember, not the strain. And then just very slowly, just releasing and bringing the arms back into Sphinx. And then once we're here, this time now, the left arm's going to come across the body. So it comes onto a slight angle across your mat. And then bending your right knee, reaching around with the right hand. So again, use your strap if you need to. But we're going to press down through the forearm. So we're lifting up through the chest. So we don't want to be collapsing down like that. We want to be lifting up. And then just seeing, maybe you can just draw the shin back. So just finding that little bit of that lift. And then if it's there for you, maybe you can just start to bring the heel down. So taking the hand to the top of the foot. And again, you're not trying to jam it down. It's not about who can be the most stretchiest here. For some of us, it's really easy. For some of us, it's almost impossible. So you're just working to what feels best for you. So working with your own threshold. Now very slowly, just releasing the leg. And then just bringing everything back down onto the mat. So we've done this before. So we've interlaced the hands. So that can be a really good option for you. So if you want to go for that, you know that that's available for you. Otherwise, if you're coming with me, you can bend your knees and then reach around, grab hold of your feet or your ankles and point through the toes. So you want to think like a ballerina point here through your toes. And then even though we've got a little bit of separation here between the knees, think about the inner thighs hugging on in. Now, as you take your next breath in, start to lift up through your head and your chest. But see, you can keep the tops of your thighs down onto the mat. So really hard because we kind of want to go to that full range. But see, you can keep the tops of the thighs down as you extend through the legs and keep lifting up through the chest. That's it. Now really focus on the breath. See if you can steady your eye gaze, steady your breath. Let's take 2 more breaths here. Now, if you've got hold of the legs, they're spring-loaded. So very slowly, start by bringing the chest down first. So bring the chest all the way down. And then release the legs. Legs release out fast. So once you're here, You've got the option, maybe if you want to do just a little windscreen wipe of the legs from side to side. And then you can stack one forearm on top of the other and then just rest your head down. So there's like a little pillow here, or maybe you can even just stretch the arms out long in front of you. So just finding that release here, and then finding just that little bit of stillness. Let's take 2 more breaths in. And then when you're ready, you're just going to turn yourself straight on over onto your back. So nothing fancy, just flip yourself all the way over onto your back. So just take it all the way over onto your back. Once you come to lie on your back, take your feet out wide to the edges of your mat and then just allow the knees to knock in towards the center of your body. You can bring one hand to your heart, one hand to your belly. Maybe allow the eyes to soften, maybe even close. And then just focus in on your breath. And so notice when the mind wants to start to wander, just seeing if you can bring your attention and your awareness back to your breath. So just notice when you catch the mind in the act of starting to drift. Just seeing if you can pull it back in. Let's take 3 more breaths in. Now slowly just separating the knees here, and then draw them in towards your chest. So you can use your hands to help you. Draw your knees in towards your chest. You can lift up your head, draw your nose towards your knees, so it's like you're in a little ball, so you can squeeze everything in really nice and close. And then just releasing the feet back down here onto the mat, hip width distance apart. So I'll use the strap for this one, but I'll show you the other side without. So if you haven't got the strap, just keeping your left foot grounded onto the mat, draw the right knee in towards your chest, and if you've got the strap, you can place it around the arch of your right foot and then extend the leg out long. Otherwise, you can just maybe grab hold of the back of the shin if that feels comfortable. And then once you're here, pressing out through the heel, and then maybe you can just draw the leg a little bit closer in towards your chest. And so we're just looking for that nice stretch here through the backs of the legs. And if it feels okay, maybe you can extend the left leg out long onto the mat. And if this is feeling pretty good, just taking the strap into the right hand, you can extend the left arm out to the side. Taking a deep breath in, and then as you exhale, just slowly start to open the leg. So again, you're not trying to get the leg all the way down to the ground. If it reaches, great. If it doesn't, great. But we want to be keeping the left shoulder anchored down onto the mat. So just so that we can get a little bit more into the inner thigh. Taking 2 more breaths in. Now slowly just start to bring the leg all the way back through center. So no rush, just take your time to come all the way back through. And then bending the left knee, bring the right knee in towards your chest, and then just releasing the strap off and away from the leg. So if you don't have the strap, this is another option that you can do. So you can extend the left leg straight up towards the ceiling, then maybe you can hold on to the back of the thigh or maybe the shin, or maybe even if it's there for you, you can take the peace fingers around the big toe. And as you press through the heel, maybe you can just draw the leg a little bit closer in towards your chest. This is feeling pretty good. It's extending out through the right arm, taking a deep breath in, or you can also extend the left leg. Sorry, your right leg out long, right arm goes out long. I'll do that again. So, 1, 2, here. So, left leg is high to the sky. Maybe you can extend the right leg out if that feels okay. And then extend the right arm out to the side. So taking a breath in, and then as you exhale, maybe you start to open now through the left side. So as you can see, because I don't have the strap, it's not going to probably go down as far, and that's okay. I want to keep the right shoulder anchored onto the mat. So it's not about trying to get the leg all the way down. It's about looking for that little stretch. And if you do need a little bit more support, just bend the right knee back in, so you've got a little bit more stability there through the foot. Taking 2 more breaths here, so wherever you are. Now slowly just start to bring the leg all the way back through center. So just releasing the strap or the interlace, bringing the foot all the way down. And then just stretching the legs out long in front of you. So taking them all the way out. So just finding a really nice comfortable position here. So as you take the legs out long, just allow the ankles to roll out to the side. So the legs are really nice and relaxed. Have your arms long beside you, palms facing up towards the ceiling. Now then just seeing if you can allow the front of your body just to soften and to relax into the back of the body. And then just allow the entire back of the body just to soften and to relax into the mat. Just see now if you can just let go of any kind of control of the breath. And just really start to let go of the practice. So just that unraveling, letting go of the effort. If you're feeling like you're a little bit tense here through the jaw, you can just open and close the mouth a few times. Maybe even just stick out the tongue. You can move it from side to side. So you're really releasing here through the jaw. Softening the space between your brows. Finally allowing the eyes to soften, maybe even close here as you move into your rest. Just allow everything to soften, to let it go, and just allow the body to rest. And slowly just start to bring just a little bit of movement back into your body. You can wiggle your fingers, you can wiggle your toes, you can gently roll the head from side to side. You can take your arms long over your head, point the toes in the opposite direction for a full body stretch. Might be nice to take a deep breath in through your nose, and then big exhalation all the way out through your mouth. And drawing your knees in towards your chest, so giving them one more little final hug and squeeze. Before rolling over to your right hand side and just pausing for a few moments here. So just to acknowledge the effort that you made and the time that you took for yourself. And when you're ready, moving into a seated position. Your eyes can be closed or gazing down softly. And hands can be joined together in front of your heart or resting onto your lap. Thank you all so much for joining me. That was a very challenging class, so well done. It is recorded, so you can always go back and keep on challenging yourself as you go, but well done. I'm really proud of you for even just having a go and seeing how you went with it, so well done. So hands together in front of the heart or resting onto your lap. Let us be the light and let us honor the light in one another. Namaste. Thank you all.